Of course, you never know what to expect out on the water, just like some of the things we'll see in this week's episode of Boating News of the Week.
How?
Our first story to make the boating news this week is going to be a wild one and is going to take us down to the U.S. Virgin Islands, where this was the scene this past Sunday when a spear fisherman ventured out into heavy seas during the beginning of Tropical Storm Earl and wound up getting themselves into a little bit of trouble near Dog Island. The fisherman was fishing near the rocks that can be seen on the right-hand side of the screen here. As seas intensified, the fisherman wound up getting stuck on the rocks and was unable to get back to his vessel to get out of the area. Fortunately, there was another Good Samaritan with him in the area who was able to alert the authorities of the man's situation. The Coast Guard quickly responded and launched a 33-foot response vessel, as well as the helicopter that can be seen here. The first attempt to rescue the gentleman was done from the boat as they attempted to throw a long line out and let it drift to the island to hopefully pull the man off the island due to concerns of trying to drop a swimmer during 6-foot seas that were crashing over the rocks. But after several attempts of trying to land the long line on the island, the wind and seas just proved to be too much and the Coast Guard had to go to plan B that's seen in these images here, and it is an absolute wild one. Now, I know the Coast Guard is absolutely trained for these types of situations here, and as we can see, he's pointing out to where the man is to try and get as close to the rocks as he can, but lots of difficulties in this one. Our swimmer can't land in the water, he can't really just land on the rocks because there's no flat surface to land on either, and then they have the waves absolutely destroying the rocks over the top of them. It's going to be a tight one that they absolutely have to hang on to, and this is why the Coast Guard always urges people to check weather before you get out on your boat. And this is the reason why, because not only can you put yourself at risk, but you can put others at risk as well. Now here, as you can see, we did not lower a basket. It's just not safe to do, so they've used a quick harness, and here they're trying to get it on the man at this point, and they only have seconds to do this. And finally, they do get it around him, and they begin their ascent. Here, the fisherman's extremely lucky to survive this situation. The Coast Guard gets him pulled into the copter and taken over to a local medical facility for evaluation. Tropical Storm Earl continued to pound the coast for several days, so I'm sure we're going to see more incidents like this come out. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to take us over to Norway and Ellesund, where this was the scene this past week when a vessel wound up catching fire with 2 people on board. Fortunately, both passengers on this vessel were able to quickly get off the boat and be rescued by local authorities. And fortunately for them as well, there was another vessel in the harbor that was able to activate its hoses and try and put this fire out before authorities arrived. Due to the quick action of this crew, they were actually able to partially salvage the vessel before it went completely underwater. The cause of the fire is still under investigation at this time, and the 2 people who were on board the boat got off safely. And there were no injuries reported at this time. However, the vessel is probably going to be a total loss after they look and evaluate the situation. Our next story to make the boating news this week is going to take us up to Boston, and this was the scene a few weeks back near Graves Light when all of a sudden local authorities received a call about a vessel in trouble. When they arrived at the scene, this is what they found: a father and son struggling to stay afloat. The 2 were out lobster fishing near the light and reported to authorities later that when they were fishing, their lobster line got caught in the propeller of the motor, causing the vessel to sink, forcing them to abandon ship. This crew got extremely lucky here. They arrived on the scene less than 20 minutes after receiving the call of the vessel being in distress. Officers claim that the floating items you see in the water, the life ring, and the cooler help the man stay afloat, but they also remind you guys that you need to know where your life jackets are and always have quick access to them, as this one could have ended a lot different. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Boating News of the Week. If you ever see anything crazy happening out on your waterways, be sure to hit me up on Facebook or Instagram and let me know when you might see your stories over here. Just like Loke Film Media, Jordan Bianchi, Algebra 27, Charles Lee 17, and David Brewer did this week. And if you guys haven't already, go ahead and drop an anchor on the subscribe button here. If not, we're coming to steal your drain plug.